Hello, and welcome to another session of What I Learned on my MBA today. I'm recording this episode on a rather large iPad, so apologies in advance if the camera shakes a bit. It's a bit heavy. So today I'd like to talk a bit about supply chain management, supply chain strategies and vertical integration, which we're learning about today with the aid of case studies around H&M, Zara and Benetton, three fast fashion brands. Just get some very interesting insights because these three companies are all very successful, but with quite different strategies for how they actually go around running their supply chain. So, where to start? Benetton, quite intriguingly, do some things around actually managing the infrastructure of demand, if you like. They produce and assemble garments without actually deciding necessarily on colours. And colour, of course, Benetton's a big thing, but they often dye them as finished products rather than actually buying dyed fabrics, which allows them to make the final decision on colours very late in the process. Then if you compare that to a company like H&M, sourcing from, I think it's over 100 designers, and the fabrics themselves are sourced from about another 100 different sites, extensive outsourced and supply network, but everything that's then assembled ends up in Hamburg at their major kind of goods received centre, from which they're then quality checked and sent out to the various shops around the world. And Zara is quite different again. Intriguingly, the Zara actually started almost by accident. It was a manufacturer of pyjamas in Spain. It had an order cancelled at the last minute and decided that he'd open a shop to get rid of the excess inventory. And for a long time, that seemed to be how they really worked. Zara's much more vertically integrated than the others, as part of a larger group which includes textiles manufacturing. So they're able to actually buy in their fabric much more effectively, and because the Zara brand has a higher proportion of total sales for the group, they're also able to command some very good bulk discounts. Zara is also, I thought, quite interesting in the way that they do what's termed pulsed manufacturing. Rather than having a specific product line which you're going to have in store for a certain amount of time, they're known for having a very fast lead time on new products, what's termed catwalk to rack. But they don't keep on building more batches. They will produce one batch of product, put it in the store, and when it's gone, chances are it's gone. It's not going to come back. They're not going to get another batch in. So that I thought was quite interesting. So you're actually looking at using a supply chain to actually create demand, because having made this batch of items, you know that demand's going to be there because you're going to show it off and people are going to buy it, because if they don't buy it now, they won't be able to buy it at all. So it's three different approaches to actually managing demand. Seasonality is another one. Benetton's actually the only one of those three which still actually holds to the traditional summer and winter collection model. H&M's model is quite different again to theirs. They have a lot more ranges and do tend to keep things in stock for longer and to actually do multiple batches. There's fewer one-offs. However, they've got real expertise in actually managing the throughput of the supply chain. So what you might term supply chain dependability. In other words, knowing exactly how long it's going to take to get your items through, how long each one's going to need. In practice, this means that very specific, more on the fashion end, items require longer lead times. Equally, you can allow some of your more basic things, because they've got a more predictable demand, to have a longer lead time, because you know you're going to need it anyway. And then if you go on that side, then you can take you can put your investment where you actually need in order to get your more one-offs onto the shelves faster. So it all comes down to having that dependability and flexibility around the supply chain. So it's three quite different models. The Benetton model is looking at creating quality more than flexibility, but maintaining flexibility by choosing colour very late in the cycle. Zara is focusing really on producing a dependability, because you've got that known pulse of items, while H&M creates dependability through knowing its supply chain very well inside out, even though it's quite large. I also found it interesting that the three companies actually have fairly comparable revenues. So it's three different strategies for three different companies of similar size that work very effectively. So I thought that was worth sharing. So that's the end of my first week of my MBA. I've learned an awful lot. It's going to be a lot of work. It's a huge amount of reading. Very interesting. Looking forward to next week, and might do some videos over the weekend. I'm not sure. We have the first personal development project task that's I'm going to be trying to complete this weekend, so there might be some interesting things to share around that. Personal development is really looking at reflecting on who we are, where we come from, and where we want to go. So very interesting things. So hope you're all well, and let me know in comments or emails if you have any questions or thoughts on this, or anything you'd like me to cover, and see you soon.